Um, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, sorry if you can hear me, just say hi. We can, okay. We are starting now,
Can you
and
hear me now?
yes, good evening, everyone. I want to welcome everyone for coming. Adiola will be leading the section. Adiola will be leading the section here tonight, and she's going to be getting everyone on board. So she's going to be our pilot, flying every one of us at this particular time. We expect more people to join us as the session continues. So, Adiola, you are welcome. Adiola.
Good evening, everyone. Kindly confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I would love to welcome everyone to this summit webinar. I can see Gafar on the call. I can see Kenny on the call. I can see Lola on the call. I can see Tumila on the call. I can see our facilitator for this evening on the call. You are all welcome to this session. And before we proceed, I would love to do some opening remarks and tell you about this session we're about to have. So this session is driven by Enterprise CEO, and I know we've been seeing the flyers everywhere, and you're wondering what Enterprise CEO is. So Enterprise CEO is a media company, and this company is committed to the projection of ideas and changes that enable CEO to achieve new possibilities. At Enterprise CEO, we work with CEOs, we work with business owners, SME, and provide them information that makes them gain knowledge to make informed decisions in their business. We do this through our media, through our news platform, and we also offer PR services to CEOs. Hence why we are having the real estate summit. So this is a pre-summit, more like we are watering the ground for the bigger picture. So we're having a summit very soon, but we are just doing this to water your appetite as the summit is around the corner. Up next I will invite Kenny to read the bio of our speaker. Our facilitator is in the house, and Kenny, you have the floor. Kenny, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Can you all hear me, please?
Loud
Good evening,
and clear.
everyone. All right. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. Okay, our speaker for tonight is Ezekiel Sholesi. Ezekiel Sholesi is a prolific author, insightful speaker, and serial entrepreneur. As the CEO of Lim Simple, an organization whose acronym stands for Life, Investing, Money, and Business Made Simple. It leads a mission to provide simplified technical, inspirational, and motivational information. This mission empowers everyday people to make deliberate improvements in their lives and businesses. His activities as a speaker and facilitator span a variety of industries. He has worked with over 4,000 businesses and helped 37 of them surpass 1 billion naira in transactions and revenues. We are so glad to have Ezekiel Sholesi in our midst tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thanks for having me. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
So, how can I share my screen? I need to be able to share my screen. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. Only host can share. So, can someone empower me to share my screen?
You've been made co-host already, so you can share your screen.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Let's try that out now. Okay, great. So give me 1 second. Let me just move. So how many of us are in real estate? How many of us, because this is a real estate summit, so I'd like to know how many of us please, can you give me 1 minute? I just need to, someone needs my attention. Just 1 minute. Sorry, someone was knocking on my gate downstairs and I needed to get someone to open it. Okay, good evening. How many of us here have had some experience in real estate? Maybe you sell or you intend to sell or you're an investor. Just need to be sure what the people that I have in the room today, right? So do you want to, I don't know if you can unmute yourself, but if you can't, can you just post something in the chat and let me know? Just maybe say yes or tell me what you do. Just your name and what you do. I'm going to make this session quite short. It's going to be about 35 minutes. I don't want to take a lot of your time. So anybody wants to share, what do you do, your name and what you do, just so that I know and I'm not speaking out of context. My understanding is this is about helping us to craft the ability to make optimum sales and profit in real estate. So I need to know how many of us here are in how many of us can hear me? If you can hear me, type yes. Because I'm not seeing any answer. Maybe I'm not heard. If you can hear me, type yes. Okay, great. So Adiola can hear me. So Adiola, can you tell me what you do? Just let me know your name and what you do. Because, so that I can know how best to tailor Onyinola also, Kende also, if you can help me with just your name and what you do, so that I can make this class very well worth it. Oh, now I'm co-host and I have to admit people. Okay. So Oyinola is the hotel manager, but I do buy and sell land on a small scale for now. Beautiful, beautiful, great. Anybody else? I'd like to take one more person so that I'm sure. Okay, so I'm just going to work with Oyinola, knowing that Oyinola is the hotel manager and buys and sells real estate, so she flips property on a small scale for now. If anybody else updates, we'll be able to work with that. So the angle with which I'm now going to take the presentation is one from which is going to be focused on, Oyinola as an investor and also as somebody who sells. Now, why is this important? So I want to talk about a possible 450 trillion naira opportunity in the real estate sector in Nigeria. Right, but before we get there, my name is Ezekiel. I run a consulting firm called Lim Simple. Like they said, we've had the opportunity to work with some people. All of this is not important. let me just start quickly. All of that was covered in the profile. So I always like to start every session that I do, or most sessions that I do, with being able to help people clarify exactly what they want. Why is it important to clarify what they want? So that you can be on the journey towards achieving them. Most people are not consciously aware or consciously thinking about what they really want out of life. They're just sort of going with the flow, going with the motion, and hoping that somehow down the line, life just treats them nice. And I mean, if you've been on that type of journey for like a year, 10 years, 15 years, you probably know that that doesn't really work out well, right? So what are the things that you want? And I'm just going to list them here. No big deal. Most people want financial freedom. How many of us here would like to be financially free? At least we know Oyinola is interested in financial freedom because she buys and sells real estate, right? She has an income and she has some form of an investment plan. Anybody else? Anybody else here want to be? Exactly. She wants to be financially free. All right. Who else? Adiola is interested in that also. Some people want to be financially free. Some people want to be rich enough to contribute to society. You don't have to be a billionaire, but you want to be able to. You want to be able to give to people, and giving is easier when you actually have it to give. Not you can almost not give what you do not have. Some people try to do that, but you can't truly give what you don't have. Some people want to make a lot of money because they want to build assets. So think about the house you're living in right now, the house you're actually in right now, listening to me, and if it's not yours, it's somebody else's investment, right? So that person, wherever they are on the face of the earth, they're making money off of you living in that apartment or living in that building or for whatever it is, right? Which is not a bad thing, but you want to also have that kind of opportunity. Some people want to make a lot of money because they want good health, and good health is not cheap. Good health means seeing good doctors. Good health means eating well. Good health means exercising and invariably having the time to exercise. Some people want good quality education for themselves, their kids, their lifestyle. And some people want to retire in style. And that's also very, very important, right? So very, very important key here is, most people who've heard me talk about retiring in style, I usually get to a point where I teach people that, see, saving is a good habit, but a very bad strategy. All right. And let me explain why. Now, if you have a job, for example, most people here, let's take Oyinola now. Oyinola, perfect. Thanks for telling us what you do. So Oyinola is a hotel manager, right? And so it means that she has a job. I don't know what hotel she manages. Let's assume it's one of the big ones, right? Right? Let's assume it's one of the big ones. Now, as one of the big ones, she probably has sort of like a pension plan or something like that. Now, so the pension plan, let's assume that Oyinola has a pension plan that allows her to save, say, 50K every month to her retirement plan. It's most likely less, but let's assume she could do 50K every month. That would be 600K in a year. Now, let's assume that a pension fund is in a pension plan that gives her 10% guaranteed interest in a year, and she could do this for 20 years before she has to retire, right? And then she had something called compounding interest. When all these things put together, Oyinola is going to have about 32.2 million in her retirement account. Oyinola, would you love to have this kind of money in your retirement accounts? Yes or yes? How many of you would like to have this kind of money in your retirement account? Oh, yes. And as great as that is, there's a different side to the story. Because most people would love this and maybe might even get this, but get into the future and realize that this is not even as good as they hoped. Now, what do I mean? Robert Kiyosaki said that there are three sides to every story. And it's important that you know all three sides. There's a side that you're told, there's a side you believe, and oftentimes there's a third side, which is the truth. And so the truth is that when Oyinola, if she follows this plan and all things are equal, she would have 32.2 million naira in her retirement account. The problem is, what would 32.2 million naira be worth in 20 years? And there's a way to calculate it. So let's assume we go back to a year like 1986 or 1985. In 1985, your minimum wage was maybe less than about 200 naira a month. But if my dad had 3,500, he could buy a brand new car. Of course, not Tokumbo, brand new, right? And of course, this was not back pocket change. Like I said, minimum wage for a year was 2004. So it was some people's annual salary. So imagine if my dad wanted to buy a car and his friend says, no, you know what happened? You could save that money every year. Do you know what would happen? Blah, blah, blah. So he does that every year. In 20 years, he gets 10% guaranteed interest, 20 years of savings, compounded interest, the same factors that produced at 32 million naira here. In 20 years, he would have 224,600, which is a lot of money from 3.5, but he'll get that money in 2005. So, Oyinola, 2005, 224,600. Could that buy you a brand new car in 2005? You think it'll buy you a brand new car? It won't even buy you a useless car, not even a fairly used one, right? And that's why I tell people that saving, even though it's a good habit, it's a very bad strategy, right? Because you're saving something that is losing value faster than it is gaining numbers. And that's the reason why this next one is important. It is better to save up for an investment than to save up as an investment. It is better to save up for an investment than to save up as an investment. Save your money, buy land like Oyinola does. Save your money, start a business. But if the long-term plan is ultimately saving money, you're going to get into the future and realize that you worked so hard in a system that equally worked so hard against you, right? So why is that important? Very, very importantly, for those of us in real estate or someone like Oyinola, choosing an investment vehicle is critical. Why? Because it's not enough to know your destination. It's important to know how you want to get there. If I decide that I want to go to Abuja today, there are many ways I can go to Abuja. I can walk to Abuja. Somebody has done it. I remember when Buhari won back in the day, one guy walked to Abuja. It took him 17 days. He got there, right? So I could walk to Abuja. I could, take a bus to Abuja. I could take a plane to Abuja. And I could even elevate my experience and fly private jet to Abuja. Or I can cool down, join witches and wizards. In the night, I fly to Abuja. Long story short, you get there. The way you get there is determined by how fast you get there, and how you get there is determined by the vehicle that you choose, right? If you choose the Egbe Express vehicle, the one where you join witches and wizards, you have to suck blood before you can get there. If you choose walking, you have to donate your physical blood because you're going to donate a lot of your energy before you get there. If you choose both. So, the vehicle we choose is as important as the destination that we're going, especially when we know how soon we intend to get there. And that's why real estate is very, very important, right? And why do I call it a 450 trillion naira opportunity? Is to understand the expanding nature of our country and how real estate fits in perfectly into that space, right? The real estate opportunity is, Nigeria has about 200 million people, 220 million people now. And experts tell us that we're going to have about 450 million, depending on what you read. The World Bank report says 450 million. There are other reports that says 500 million people by 2050, which is effectively 26 years from now. Now, this report was in 2020, the report I'm about to share with you. And today we have about 220 million people in the country. We're less than 200 at the time. And the report says that the population dynamic, right, is such that 85% of our population is between 18 and 35, meaning that 85% of our population is young. And so what that means is that and they also said that when we get to 2050, 85% of our population will still be between 18 and 35. So that means that Nigeria, at the very least, is going to add an additional, like people that are going to be born in Nigeria are going to be 150 million people between now and 2035. So Nigeria sort of adds about 11 to 15 million babies every year, right? So what that means is that even if the government embarked on the low-cost housing project and provided accommodation for a family of 5 at, for example, 15 million naira, we'll be looking at a possible 450 trillion that is coming. Why is that important for you? It's important for Oyinlola, for example, as somebody who buys real estate and as somebody who sells real estate. Because, for example, Lagos State is going to have 50 million inhabitants. You know, we're at about 21 million now. There are 29 million people that would cramp themselves into the city. What does it mean? It means that every single place in Lagos and environment is going to become freakishly expensive very soon. So it is important for you to be a part of it and invest and buy yours. But more importantly, it is important for you to be able to get the number of your people, your friends, and if you don't get them to start to invest, what will happen is that they will get into the future and the future will be too expensive because everything is cheap today. The future is always cheap today. So as somebody who is looking at the real estate industry, it is important for you to participate as a salesperson because the market opportunity is huge. In fact, let me give you a bit of context, right? Looking at the 450 trillion naira opportunity, we don't even have enough companies. We need 32,500 companies that will do 1 billion naira a year for the next 12 years for us to be able to meet up with that number. So the real estate sector, as saturated as it might seem, has not even begun to scratch the surface. So participating in that industry is huge because the opportunities are there. The second thing that is important is that you have to participate as an owner, or else you would end up being what I call a signboard. Now, if you're leaving Lagos, for those of us that live in Lagos, and you're going out of Lagos, if you're driving out of Lagos, maybe before you get to the Shagam interchange, you would see Shagam turn right, right? If you see Shagam turn right, I can assure you that if you turn right, you would get to Shagam because I have turned right and I have made it to Shagam. But you see that signboard? That signboard has never been to Shagam before. The signboard is correct, but the signboard has never been to Shagam before. So don't be the person who sells to everybody. And when you finish selling to everybody, you have nothing. And then 20, 30 years from now, you're telling your children, we're the one that sold all this place. We're the one. Now you sell it. No. Be like Oyinlola, who owns and sells. That's what she told us that she does. She owns, and I'm using Oyinlola alone because Oyinlola was the one that answered my question, right? Right? Great. So she owns and she sells. She has an income as a hotel manager, but she also buys and then she sells on a small scale, right? And I'm going to sort of close my discussion on this, on what she said, a small scale. There is a game called Monopoly. How many of us here know of a game called Monopoly? So I try to play, I have that game on my iPad, and I play that game every day. Every single day. At least I try to play it every single day. Why? That game, if you play that game long enough, you would understand the game of wealth. And you would understand exactly what Oyinola is doing, which is start it small. However way, start. You don't have to own Banana Island. Banana Island should not be your first property. Buy somewhere, and then buy somewhere else, and then buy somewhere else. But for most of us, where it starts is that we have to first start to learn how to sell. Now, that's the reason why that real estate summit is important. Now, if you're here, you're going to be contacted about that event. Why? There are people, part of the speakers, at least I know some of them personally, have built an empire inside of the real estate industry. And some of them built it from being, I know one of them who's built an empire in real estate from being totally homeless for 3 years, and has a real estate empire that is in excess of 100 billion, right? So how many of us would like for Enterprise CEO to send you information about that program? I think it's going to happen in May. I don't have the full details, as it were, but I think it's in May, right? Shea, can you help us with Okinde? Someone can help us with those details? Yeah, great. Okay, so Oyinola definitely is going to have to make it to that class. I mean, she's already an investor, so she needs to go and meet her fellow billionaires, according to Saminus. Right? Great. So, any question? So, I don't want to give too much details because I'm going to be speaking at the event also. And so, I don't want to tell you everything that I will say there. So, anybody got questions? You want to ask a question? I can take 2 questions now. I promise that we're going to be 30, 35 minutes. So essentially we have 2 more minutes to go. Any question? I mean, it'd be nice to get one from Oyinola herself. Or himself. I don't know whether it's a lady or a guy. Any questions?
Okay. Thank you, Ezekiel. Thank you for your session. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir.
This is there's no dull moment being in your class. Your class is always exciting and engaging. The first time I was in your class was in 2018, and there's something there's something new about how you bring knowledge and information to people. It's always, I don't want to say, there's this saying that the word of God is always new. I don't want to compare your own to the word of God, but at least.
Let go,
but at least in a way, I can say that there's a new dynamic to how you bring information to business owner, and that is what you've shown here tonight. I've seen different statistics when it comes to real estate, and it baffles me and how government has not, in a way, find a way to empower people or to create an enable environment that will make more people to participate in this industry. You will agree with me that real estate is an industry where even a school start holder, even a primary 6 holder can just enter. It's both for formal and the informal sector, can just enter and make millions and billions of naira. And so in this aspect, what do you think? So I also know that you are part of the people that advise, that consult real estate owners and government on this aspect. What do you think government should do to further bring more people into this sector? I see a lot of people doing real estate, but unfortunately, most of them don't even do it better, perhaps the way they should have done it, so that they can also become part owners of these opportunities we are talking about. What exactly do you think government should do?
So to be honest, I try to stay away from questions that ask what the government can do. You see, because if we just sit with that conversation, none of us in this room, at least, I might be wrong, but at least to the best of my knowledge, I'm not in government. I do not know if anybody here is in government. So the reality is that if we keep talking about that, then we miss an opportunity to ask a question like, what can we do in spite of what government is not doing? So I think that's because if I'm here, there are a lot of things I could say, provide access to funding, there's a lot of, great things that the government can do, and some of which they are doing, particularly from a state government perspective, and the likes. However, there's a lot of things that we could do in spite of what we think the government is or isn't doing. And that's what I like to focus on, right? So for example, we could say, the government isn't providing funding, but there are companies that have figured out how to crowdfund this, get the money from the people. So you see things like off-plan, and the likes. And that's an innovation, so entrepreneurs innovate and get the results that they want to get in spite of the resources that are not available to them. So, and again, it's the reason why I think that the conference itself is critical. And let me explain for those of us that haven't made up our minds yet. So at least I know two of the speakers. One of them is essentially just turned 30. He's built a 6 billion naira business. He started out as a realtor. He was selling real estate. And he's been able to build something in the economy that is also tough. I told you the other one was homeless for 2.5 years, and has a 100 billion naira business inside the same country where the government has not done the things that they're supposed to have done, right? His organization employs over 1,000 people and has provided opportunity for more than 600,000 people to sell real estate. And all of that in spite of what the government isn't doing, right? And so, yes, there's a lot of things that government should do. And when I get an opportunity and I'm sitting in front of maybe a government official or somebody who could make a decision to that effect, then we can have that conversation on a couple of things, right? But now, in the front of people who I presume are in government officials, do not have access to the governor or the president, I would say is to focus on the things that you can do. Because here's the truth. As bad as the national economy might seem, what you're more concerned about is your local economy, isn't it? Your personal economy, right? Because, if you had 2 billion naira just in case money sitting in an account now, your outlook at the Nigerian economy will be different. So if you, and by the way, we're also going to there's also going to be government officials in that meeting. So you'll be able to ask the question, but more importantly, they'll be able to tell us things that they've been doing. But today, what do I think you can do to move forward in spite of the government, right? Innovate. Everything is not cut and dry. Everything is not cast in stone. There are people that have started real estate with 0 naira and they've built billions. What did they do? They innovated. They found angles. They leveraged on their social capital. If you don't know how to buy the land, look for somebody who's bought good land and sell for the person. Sell long enough to be able to get the experience, get the know-how, get all the things that you need to be able to be in the room, to be able to access the room where you can make those purchases yourself. But learn. And as you learn and you're able to grow, you'll be able to make a success out of this. There's poor people everywhere. There's rich people everywhere. It's not specific to countries. So you can choose to be a better person.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think before
I know that people have questions, and so the reason why we are putting this event together, I think I should just talk about it. And so for us at Enterprise CEO, as Adiola said, we help business owners gain knowledge and information that will make them to make informed decisions to improve their businesses. So real estate also is one of the places, is one of the platforms and industries that has been doing well in terms of helping to grow the economy and helping people's career. So we want to put this event together just to ensure that people understand what they are doing. A lot of people are doing businesses today, but they don't understand the industry where they play. For example, Ezekiel has told us that the real estate industry is worth over 40 trillion naira. As a matter of fact, if a lot of people know how to access this 40 trillion naira, they would have done so much more. And one of the things we want to do at this event is to open up to people, to open this information to people on how they can gain access to this information. He has talked about a particular CEO that he, as a consultant, has helped them to move from a particular level to another particular level. Ezekiel, I still want you to share Gidi story so that people here can further understand what it means to get involved in real estate and particularly to attend Enterprise CEO Real Estate Conference. So for us, we just want to help business owners to gain knowledge. Business owners playing at different levels of life. We want to help them to gain knowledge and understanding that will make them to perform better. Number one, to improve themselves and also to contribute to the economy, to the country's economy. So what we've done is that the event is supposed to come up at the end of this month, but we are postponing it up to the fact that we want more people to have access to the event. We have people that have registered, we have people that have also paid, but we understand that the kind of event that we want to put together, that we want to host, is not just an event that somebody should miss. Yes. So we have a array of speakers that have confirmed. We have former economic advisor to Oshibajo, Dr. Biodra Adepipe, who will be opening us to how we can take advantage of the economy, despite how unfaithful the economy has been to a lot of people. This man is coming to open to us how in all challenges that a lot of people are talking about, we can still take advantage of some things positively to help us gain knowledge and understanding that will help us. Another speakers that I so much enjoy is the chairman and CEO of P1 Group, Dr. Austin Holmere. That man, when he was sharing his story, I just could not even cry. That's a man that has moved from zero to the topmost top of his career. He told me recently when I met him that last year he made over 60 billion naira from that industry alone. That's his revenue alone. And Ezekiel is one of the person that has helped him to gain that, to get to that particular level. So he's a major player. I know some of us might have heard about P1. He's also coming to speak at that event. So, and we also have different speakers that confirmed KPMG is getting involved. So KPMG is coming to help real estate companies. If you run a real estate company and you are afraid on how to put all your fundings, all your auditing and things like that, how to put it together, KPMG is coming to open us up to us on how to help real estate companies put their books in order. And we are so much, for us at Enterprise CEO, we are so much committed. There is also another speaker that is coming to speak on how to take advantage of luxury real estate. We have the likes of Sujimo, so we have the likes of Landway doing a lot of. As a matter of fact, there's some major real estate company in this country that you don't even hear their name, and they are catching out on a very big status. They don't even sell a lot of land. What they just do is luxury real estate. And most of the guys that play in this sector, in this area of real estate, are just young people. So there is also a particular speaker that is coming to speak on that. We have nothing less than 10 speakers that will be coming. So we've tried to move it to May. And so this decision came during the week when we realized, no, there are a lot of people that are asking that, well, we want to participate, we want to, and we've not even opened the door to different channels to take advantage of participating at the event. So we are moving into May. We're going to announce the dates next week. And I so much know that Ezekiel also will be speaking, he will be playing big at that event and things like that. We also have regulators. We have the Minister of Housing has received a letter. We are so much on him to come. The essay to the Governor Sanwo-Olu on housing, as a matter of fact, has committed to come. Last week, he called Adiola saying that, asking her where her presentation should focus on and things like that. So also the Commissioner for Housing in Lagos. We also have different private sectors, multinationals that are going to commit to this event. So it's on a very big scale, and that's the reason why we are pushing it ahead, so that we can accommodate everyone, all major real estate players. That is that. So Ezekiel, sorry, if you have questions, we can raise up our hand, so we can indicate in the chat button. And Ezekiel, I want you to speak to Giddy Real Estate. Yes, and how do
so as for Giddy, I don't want to speak to Giddy Real Estate. I want people to come and hear it by themselves. Kende has a question for me. I have a question. Okay. What are the best things we should implement in negotiating the best deal with contractors, vendors to maximize profits on projects? The best deals. Let me get these boys away from me. Just sorry, I'm in a meeting. Can you come, Mom? So this is a very long question, right? And it's not a question I can answer here, but let me just see if I can try. Best tips, negotiate the best deals with contractors, vendors. I think the first things first is you have to, I don't know how experienced you are in the industry, but it always makes sense to talk to somebody who is more experienced so that you understand the things that they are, so that you can have a mental model of what a best deal is. Because if you're not experienced and somebody comes to you and says something is 5 million and you negotiated it down to 3 million, feeling like you have cashed out, and then you realize that it was 500K. So I think the best tip I can give is go find somebody who's done exactly what you want to do, and get them to be an advisor and to walk you through the process. Because if you understand things from that perspective, you probably would make better quality decisions. I don't know if that answered your question. So I need to run now. I want to thank everybody. Mr. Shea, I need to run out of the room now. Hope I'm free.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Very much. Yeah. Have a fantastic
Thank you so much for your time. We always enjoy your session.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So we'll be bringing to us the details of when we are going to we'll be announcing the next stage, and we're going to be getting everyone involved and informed when the next venue and the dates will be put together for us to have the details. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for coming. Yeah.